Welcome. Come to my channel. Come on over. Come and sit with me. Come and watch a video that I made for you with me. This you'll see at the end. Okay. Poseidon. I wanted to talk about this because I just found this out like while I'm doing research and everything. So I found the stuff with the Poseidon and everything with the Russian nuclear submarine, Belgorod, and all of those. And we're going to get into that too. But while I was doing research, this satellite launched in 1992 and was a joint mission between NASA and the CNES, the French Space Agency. It was designed to map ocean surface topography, the first satellite to do so extensively. This allowed global monitoring of sea level, tides, ocean currents, and oscillations, ocean circulation, and climate change. The measurements were made with two radar altimeters named TOPEX, Topography Experiment, and Poseidon. This satellite was shut down in 2006 following a malfunction. The successor mission was Jason #1, which was launched in 2001. I thought that was interesting. It just popped up while I was researching. They keep naming these things after false gods. And I think it's because they worship them and they give them dominion. They give them dominion. So this is, they've named this, these drones that go underwater. They're like an ICBM, but underwater. It's the K329 Belgorod. It can carry 6 Poseidon nuclear armed underwater drones. So what's strange, and I've like just been trying to, edit the video and everything, and then I went back to look, about Belgorod again because I thought there was some connection with Poseidon and the city, which I'm still not sure if there is or not, but something strange, something very, very strange happened today, 2 hours ago. So I'm going to show you this. It's also in the end of the video that I did because I found it in time and added it in. But check this out. This is in Belgorod 2 hours ago, maybe 3 hours ago. Isn't that weird? And this city has been getting hit by missiles, which you will see. Put a little music to it in my video. So basically, I'm just going to stick with this about the succession of events recently that could cause us to actually get nuked. But Russia is doing this test. It's a test. But they kind of disappeared off into the Arctic, you see. They've been floating around down there somewhere with these missiles, these drones, these ICBM, submarine, apocalypse. They call them doomsday or apocalypse nuclear missiles. So they disappeared down there in the Arctic, and this thing can go like thousands of miles or something. I mean, you pay attention and see how many miles that it says. I could have that number wrong, but it's a long way. I'm pretty sure it's like 3, maybe more thousand miles, but my memory's not so great. Let me find this video that I made for you. And I also have something I want to read to you. Should I do that first? I should read that to you first. Let's see, where would that be? Editor. Okay, sorry, I had it up, but it went away. Might be under videos. I have something to read to you. It's pretty intense, though. I mean, today's really a sad day for me to go over this information because I researched a lot, and it's kind of heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. Let's see, what did I call it? I called it something like a script or something because I was gonna like shorten it and all this, but I've read it pretty good. I'll just pick out the details on it for you. I can't find it. Where did I put it? Okay, well, I did edit it, so it's going to be in this editor thing. File, open project. I don't know why it's not coming up. Poseidon, final. Well, I guess I could read it at the end, but basically it gets into things about Poseidon, which is a mythological. I'll just tell you real quick. It's a mythological false god, and I think they've showed up here before. As a matter of fact, like the Book of Enoch talks about how they were here before. So these false gods are going to show up again. There's going to be a war in heaven. So these sea and waves are going to roar. And that's what it says right before, men's hearts failing them for fear for what's coming upon the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. So after the sea and waves roaring, which could be this thing that makes a tsunami, it's a torpedo. I'm not sure if it causes an earthquake or what, but this false god, Poseidon, he is like the little g god over the ocean and earthquakes, tsunamis included with the ocean, and horses. So that's very interesting. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, like, it seems like there's something going on in the spiritual realm with all of this stuff. And Pastor Paul taught me that whatever's going on in the spiritual world manifests in the physical. So, or vice versa. Or both. I mean, it's probably simultaneously. Let me just see how you guys are doing over here. There it is, right there. Okay. So, oh, I put it on my YouTube. Oh, that's right. I added it onto my YouTube channel. Let's see. Oh, there's two. I added it onto my YouTube channel. Hi. Let's see. Say hi to myself. Oh, there's two. I added it on. Okay, let's see. I gotta go to here and then studio probably. My content. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So now I can share this. And okay, wait a minute. This is with the video. Part of the video. Okay. Here we go. Sorry, I should have this ready. Actually did have it ready, but it messed up. because I played my intro. Okay, you need to stop that. Okay, let me get rid of this other stuff. Sorry, it's taking me a minute here to get this going. But yeah, I was amazed at this right here, because that's in Belgorod. That's the name of the submarine. And this is happening. This is in Russia. You'll see a map and everything on the video that I did. Okay, here's this. Okay, so you can just read along with me now. Okay, this is the 2022 Russia invasion of Ukraine chart. So we're just going to talk about this for a minute. So we know that there's been going on a war. This is Ukraine. This is all of Ukraine. And then this right side over here where it's red, that is all Ukraine territories occupied by Russia and pro-Russian separatists. That's all this red area. And then the yellow area, of course, is Ukraine. And then the blue areas are, the arrows are advances from Ukraine pushing back on Russia. Air and ground bombardments. Air and ground bombardments. Is that like these? All these little red dots. These little chicken pox marks. Contested cities. I don't even see those because it's just too blurry. But you get the idea. Russia is got a chunk of Ukraine over here next to Russia's border over here. Okay, and Chernobyl is right in here. And they have a nuclear power plant, Zaporizhzhia or something. And it has been taken over by Russia, and they keep thinking that that's going to leak some sort of radiation and cause some bad stuff. And okay, let me keep going. I'm pulling up your chat here. Let me just say howdy. Howdy. Anybody out there? Oh, okay. So 5 nuclear. Did I miss something? Okay, I missed something here. Okay. So the invasion began February the 24th. I'm not going to read all of this. I'm just basically like doing a little skimmer. Then there was a joint statement of leaders between 5 nuclear weapon states on preventing nuclear war and avoiding arms races. And this is going to go over those 5. You got China, right there, France right there, Russia right there. These all own nuclear weapons, and they made a deal. It was a joint statement. The UK, United States. Hold on. So it says the 5 NPT designated nuclear weapon states and permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. It was about controlling the use of nuclear weapons and preventing nuclear war and avoiding arms races. And the other day, just like yesterday or something, Biden was saying to Putin, don't, you know, to the nuclear war. Thank you for being here, everybody. Soviet power. Oh, okay, that went by way too fast. Okay, so this is just some history, and I'll leave it on here, and then you guys, if you want to rewind it and read the history, you can. Let's see. There was a mass shooting that occurred in April of 2013. in Belgorod. The shooter was a 31-year-old, opened fire with a semi-automatic rifle on several people at a gun store and on a sidewalk, killing at least 6 people, 3 at the store and 3 passerbys, including 2 teenage girls. He was later apprehended after an extensive day-long manhunt. During his arrest, he wounded a policeman with a knife, and he was sentenced to life in prison on August of 2013. So from there, I went to this where it says 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine. Okay, now we're getting in deep. This is about the nuclear threats. 4 days into the invasion, President Putin placed Russia's nuclear forces on high alert, raising fears that Russia could use tactical nuclear weapons against Ukraine, or a wider escalation of the conflict could occur. During April, Putin and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov made a number of threats alluding to the use of nuclear weapons against Ukraine and the countries supporting Ukraine. On April 14th, the CIA Director William Burns said that the potential desperation in the face of defeat could encourage President Putin to use tactical nuclear weapons. In response to Russia's disregard and safety precautions during his occupation of the disabled former nuclear power plant at Chernobyl and its firing of missiles in the vicinity of the active nuclear power plant of Zaporizhzhia. On April 26, President Zelensky called for an international discussion on regulating Russia's use of nuclear sources. No one in the world can feel safe knowing how many nuclear facilities, nuclear weapons, and related technologies the Russian state has. If Russia has forgotten what Chernobyl is, it means that global control over Russia's nuclear facilities and nuclear technologies is needed. In August, this past August, shelling around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant developed into a crisis, prompting an emergency inspection by the International Atomic Energy Agency. Ukraine has described the crisis as an act of nuclear terrorism by Russia. And then on September 19th, just a couple weeks ago, CNBC reported where was I? Okay, on September 19th, CNBC reported that Biden's response to Russian uncertainties about its lack of combat success in its invasion, stating President Joe Biden warned of a consequential response from the U.S. if Russian President Vladimir Putin were to use nuclear or other non-conventional weapons. Asked what he would say to Putin if he was considering such action, Biden replied, don't. Following his statement made on the September 19, Biden appeared before the United Nations on September 21st. That brings us really close to where we are now, and continued his criticism of Putin's nuclear saber rattling, stating that Putin was overt, reckless, and irresponsible. A nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought. And that was about the nuclear. However, there are some things that went on during this war. Some of them you've probably heard about. I'm just going to skim over. You probably heard about the things where they were like tying them to poles and pulling down their pants, and that was in Ukraine. Okay, and it does say that, but it's very small amount of things that they say Ukraine did versus huge long area of things they say Russia did. I would say it's both, but this was concerning. This gives me vibes of Nazi Germany, you know, like in concentration camps. Evacuees from Mariupol raised concerns about the treatment of evacuees from Mariupol by Russian troops. They're calling it a filtration camp that is reportedly used to house civilians before they were evacuated. Similar camps have been compared by Ukraine officials to modern-day concentration camps. Refugees have reported torture and killings when being processed through the filtration camps, especially in Mariupol. These include beatings, electrocution, suffocating people with plastic bags over their heads. The refugees were fingerprinted, photographed from all sides, and had their phones searched. And anyone believed to be a Ukrainian Nazi was taken to Donetsk for interrogation. They also told reporters there was a lack of basic necessities, and a majority of the evacuations forced refugees into Russia. On July 5th, the OHCHR expressed concern about the whereabouts and treatment of those who had not passed the filtration process, who were possibly detained in unknown locations at high risk of being subjected to torture and ill treatment. Okay, so this is also about the nuclear threats. Okay, we read that. That's the detention camps. Why did it do that again? Hold on. Going on. Getting past the boring part, and then you can enjoy the rest of it. These are the detention camps right here. All these dots. And that's just the known ones. They said there's unknown ones too. The green ones are registrations. Red ones are secondary interrogation. Then yellow is detention. And then blue is holding. So they got these things set up all over Russia. Or all over this Donetsk Oblast. I mean, that just could be just one area. It's like you saw the area was huge of the places that Russia has taken over. And then they're just holding these people? Or, like, are they getting human trafficked? Are they... Okay, here's a list of the things. So, and then we can move on. Indiscriminate attacks. This is all against Russia, okay? Indiscriminate acts and acts against civilian targets. Use of cluster munitions. Targeting of nuclear power plants. Attacks on cultural properties. That's like the wheat burning and all that. Attacks on hospitals and medical care facilities. And like, I don't know if it'll get into this, but I saw like them stealing from just stores, just regular stores. The people that are in the war. Ill treatment, torture, and willful killing of civilians. Killings and torture in the Kyiv and Cherniv regions. The Bucha massacre. Sorry, I gotta get my dog. And a drink. Be right back. Daisy! Come on. Put your butt in here. Got some fire going on over there. So let me see how many people are in here. We got 3. Anybody in the chat room? Oh, I got it on top chat. Let me switch it over. Okay. So thank you for coming. Where was I? Use of, let's see. Torture and executions, Russian torture chambers, shooting at passing civilians. I saw a lot of that. Abduction and torture of civilians. Overt command to kill civilians. Use of human shields. Russian forces. Ukraine forces. Placement. And, you know, you could go into each of these and see more details. Placement of military objectives near civilian objects, sexual violence on both sides, deportations, arbitrary detention, enforced disappearance, and hostage taking. Forced, I saw a lot of that too. Forced conscription, detention camps, abduction of Ukraine children. There goes the child trafficking. Treatment of prisoners of war, Russian prisoners of war, torture of Russian POWs in Malaron, execution of captured Russian soldiers, Ukraine prisoners of war, execution of surrendering Ukrainians' death sentence against foreign soldiers serving, torture of captured Ukrainian soldiers in Kherson and Zaporizhzhia Oblast, castration and murder of a Ukrainian POW. Yeah. And see, all this stuff had to be reported because of the reporters. I don't know if you remember, but in the beginning there was a couple reporters in Ukraine that got killed. And one of them was from Tennessee. So we got that going on. So at least, you know, they're, you know, keeping track of what's happening. But my point of this was showing you that this is happening all over the place. Trying to get it to stop on that. So fast. Well, you saw the map, right? You know, that whole area. These things are happening. And it's not pretty. I mean, war's not pretty. And this nuclear war, this, I'll just say tsunami, this could happen. Like, it could. Like, that they're not telling people where they're at. They're like, oh, we're going to go do an exercise. But what if their exercise is like a live exercise? What if they like do it out in the middle of the Arctic or something and it goes wrong? I think that was it on that. Okay. So, they could be causing a tsunami is what I'm saying. It's very likely that this could happen. And them calling it Poseidon is just a slap in the face to Christians. And I don't care how much Russia touts that they're Christians, naming their things after false gods. Read Jeremiah. You know, God's not happy with this. He is the God of the ocean. He is the God of the sky. He is the God of my heart and the people of God. And if you start worshiping false gods, you're going to have famine and you're going to have the sword. And I forget what the other one was, but it's in Jeremiah. God's not happy. So stop worshiping false gods. And I put some false gods in my thing because it's superheroes. And so when you see my video and you see the superheroes, don't idolize them. Okay? Don't idolize these movies. And it's at the very end. So at the very end, Well, I guess nobody's here. Oh, well, you got two. One of them might be me. Well, it's just me and you. Is it you, Segway? I'm just curious. Could you throw up the eyeballs so I know if it's you? One day, I was having a really, sad time, and I had to use my tablet and everything. That wasn't what was making me sad, but I kind of felt like not enduring, and Segway was in there watching. I think he was the only one. I ended up deleting that video, but it was just nice, for whoever you are, to show up and be here, because I don't like watching alone. I don't like making these just to be making them or whatever. So if you know anybody that would like this part, tell them to skip past, all my mouthing and just, enjoy this part of the movie, or, the research that I did. Here we go.
The Poseidon is an 80-foot-long nuclear-powered submersible robot that is essentially an underwater ICBM. It is designed to travel autonomously across thousands of miles, detonate outside an enemy coastal city, and destroy it by generating a tsunami. Dubbed the Doomsday Drone, the Poseidon has a range of 1,000 kilometers, 620 miles, and can carry a nuclear warhead, with a yield of up to 100 megatons, to most parts of the world, while remaining immersed 1,000 meters, 3,300 feet, beneath the surface.
Most parts of the world.
The Belgorod nuclear submarine, carrier of Poseidon underwater drones, as well as Novosibirsk and Nyazolig nuclear submarines, will complete the state trials before the end of this year, Submarine CEO Mikhail Budnichenko told TASS on Friday.
Look at that.
These ships must go to sea several more times for factory and state trials. As of today, all operations on the submarines are within schedule. The ships perform well and confirm their specifications, Budnichenko said. He noted that the Sevmash slipway will not be empty after the submarines are commissioned. 2 more submarines were laid down this year, the Dmitry Donskoy and the Nyaz Potyomkin of the Boreas project. They complete the line of strategic cruisers currently being built in the shipyard's hangars. We also continue working on multi-purpose submarines. We put maximum effort to ensure rhythmical construction, the shipyard's head said. He pointed out that, this summer, Krasnoyarsk multi-purpose nuclear submarine, Yasenem project, was launched, while the lead ship of this project, the Kazan, was commissioned this spring. The official noted that this year was one of the most intense in the last 20 years.
Okay, hold on one second. Sorry.